Well, doctor will see you now. Well, another bike in the stand today. This one, orange clockwork. So it's quite a small one. Watch this. "14-inch frame. It's for a little girl. So what I got to do with it is I've got to sort. It's in a bit of a state, in a bit of a mess. My first job that I had to do was make one good wheel out of two. So got some of the old LX hubs in there. This hub, well, stripped this one apart, and I stripped the other one apart, and I've kind of used the best throw body, the best axle, and then obviously we're going to service it, fresh bearings, fresh grease, and so on, and make the best of what we had. So I've got the old bag of bits there, which I'm not going to put back in because the rims have pretty much had it. They're quite concaved. The hub's knackered, and that's all crap. So my friend's getting that back just like that. So but yeah, we can make one good wheel out of the two. So I've already got that one stripped, so we'll get that job done first for it, and then that way both of the wheels are done. So, and then I'll show you, I'll flip it around and I'll show you some of the other bits and bobs that we're going to be doing on it, just to get this dialed in a little bit better and running sweeter as well, because it's coming up to summer. He wants to go riding with his daughter, so brings his bike to me to give it some love, to make sure it's working right. So that's what we're going to do. So let me put this crap down, and then we'll flip the camera. So here she is, 14-inch frame, not looking too bad. Paintwork and the actual frame itself is pretty good. Got some like DX mechs on there, LX crank, shark fin XT on there. Obviously this bike would have been running V brakes, but he wants to run canters, so he's got the Diacomp little mount there to run the canters, and then on the front he has got, well, he's got a double whammy. So he's got the cantilever mount there and the cantilever mount there, but because that's 1-inch threaded, I'm guessing he's left that on there as a spacer. So, but that cable will sit and pass through that part quite nicely anyway, so that's not an issue. Yeah, he basically had a bit of a go at this. Well, I say have a go, he made a start on it. He did say, he goes, "Oh, don't worry, I've already fitted cables into the levers," but to be fair, that one don't look too bad. That one looks second hand. Yeah, she's in the need of a bit of love. What we've got going on, let's have a look. So got some DX cantilevers, not in the greatest condition, bit rusty in places, so I'll see about cleaning them up as well. So supplied the brakes to go on. Got some orange grips. It's got some purple skewers. Cassette I took off the wheel. And then these are kind of like the hub bits that I've already cleaned up. Oh, I had to give him some new bolts for the brakes because he didn't supply any bolts as well. So that'll be all right. So yeah, we need to get this wheel all back together first. Then we can get the wheels on, check everything that's on there, and then fix it. So let's surface up the hub and rebuild all of that axle. Oh, he's got some XT brake pads he wants going as well. They're not as rock hard as I thought they was going to be, so they won't be too bad. We'll just see how it goes anyway. Yeah, let's build the wheel, go from there. Well, let's fiddle around with the brakes and get these on. I'll leave the brake pads, the old ones, in for now. They're knackered, they are, so we'll replace those soon. Let's get this lined up. Well, I've got the wheels on. I've ran into a bit of an issue. Well, not an issue. The gear cables are fine. They will run around their fancy little thing. What I did think as well is, you've probably seen these before. So on the Clockworks, they have this awesome little thing where the front cable comes round up there and then goes up to the front mech there. So what I thought is, if I strip the inner sleeve out of the cable, I can use that to run in and around, or because that cable itself won't slide down there, but the internal sleeve will. So that's what I'm going to do, just so then the actual inner cable's not sitting against the metal, and it will probably slide a lot better as well. So we'll do that in a second. However, got an issue with the brake now. When, for example, that's all connected up, two things. One, it's sitting quite close to the tyre, and I can drop that down by a little bit, but the brakes might be a bit shit. So I might need to rethink, because that, if that was shorter, it wouldn't be an issue, but that's quite long. So I'm going to think about this while I strip that down and start cabling up the gears, and then I will come back to the brakes. Right, let's strip that. Probably better off putting some gloves on just in case. Doctor will see you now. Right, and then if we come on. It's a bit thick, this one. Ah. I know what's going off with that. Let me I'll get another piece. Here we are. Some jag wire. So yeah, this one will be better. Let me pull all that out. You have to be careful of your fingers on this as well. What we're looking to get out is that blue pipe there. So that's what we're going to use to run around near that front mech area. There you go, that'll be long enough. So we will snip that. And I'll cut that a bit shorter, but that bit's usable. That bit can go in the bin along with all them bits. Right, let's fit the front mech gear cable and use that, as I just spoke about, as a bit of a guide to stop it rubbing on the frame. I think that will work lovely. Right, let's give it a go. So we're essentially going to use that, and that is going to sit there like that. So let's slide that on. Oh yeah, there we go, like that. And then I'll tighten that in to the front mech, and then that will not damage the actual frame there. So I'll tighten that in and I'll give you a close-up. So there we have it. So if you have one of these retro frames that does have this kind of metal mount for the front derailleur, just use a bit of the internal piping to protect it, and then that way it also will give a smoother index around there as well. So as you can see, when I move that, that smooths backwards and forwards. And obviously I'm going to balance that off so it's like more equal there, like that. There you go. Well, here we are, still working on the orange, and all that's left to do now is finish the brakes. Ran into a few issues with this because there's a clearance issue with the diacomp thing that sits there, and the springs in the brake are absolutely dog poo. They're not going to work. So I had to go back to my friend and I'd say, look, you know, it's not great. You want the bike to be safe, and what options have we got? You know, given the clearance issue, do we put a retro V-brake lever set on it to get it finished? And I'll flip the camera around in a second and show you the issue that I was having, and then I'll show you the outcome in which we've decided to try and make work now, and then how we're going to finish up and get this bike finished. So I'll flip the camera around and then we'll see where we are from there. So right, so the issue being, one, that they're not great anyway, and two, it's that clearance from there to there. So when you put that on, for example, it was sitting too close to the tyre catching, and then not enough modulation to go up and down like that. So it's either find a smaller version of that, so it gives you more space, use a straddle cable, and then put different brake arms on to get them working nice. So what we've come up with today is, we're not going to use the Shimano triangle thing. We're actually going to use kind of like the yokes. So we've got some diacomp like yokey things there, and we got some straddle cables as well for the brakes, and then we're going to put on a shiny, basically Shimano set, which means that the arms kick out further a little bit, so it gives you a bigger area to kind of work with on there. And then what we're going to do to rectify the issue from there to there is, we've got one of those which sits in just a little groove just there, and it will sit like that, which will bring it in by a centimetre. So in using that and doing that, it creates more space so we can get the brakes working. So I'm going to quickly swap out the brake arms, front and rear, get that off, make that fit in that gap. It needs filing down probably by a mil or two. As you can see, it's kind of already been filed and so on. So tidy that up, make that work in there, and then get the brakes done, and then this is the bike all done then, and then we can move on to the next one. So let's go ham on that. What we're left with now, so I've slightly filed and cleaned that up on there, so that now slots in nicely there. So there's enough gap in that as well. So that should be able to torque up and lock up and hold the seat post tight, as well as creating that smaller kind of cantilever mount. So we'll get that on, get that in. That's going to sit there, which then should give us enough room to play with once we get the cantilever brakes on. So I'll get the brakes on, bolt that in, and then see where we are with it. So I've now got the mount in there. That's all torqued up now. That little blue nut on there needs changing because it just, one, it looks horrible, and two, it's got tooling marks. So I'll advise on that one, just swap it out just to make it look a bit prettier. But I filed it down just enough so that man has still got a slight little bit of movement in there, and that can torque up enough to make sure the seat post is tight. Now obviously you can see we've got clearance, so we've got a bit of clearance for the brake there and a bit of clearance for the tyre. Got the new brake pads on and the new brake arms, so now that has got enough space and enough give to work. So pretty much do the front and then go from there. Well, she is done and finished. The only thing needed is some bar end caps just in there. But all in all, she's polished up, she's working lovely, gears are nice and tuned in. Dog's barking over the back again. And yeah, she is ready for a maiden voyage. That all worked out in the end as well. So really happy with that, to manage to get cantilever brakes on it. Didn't think it was going to happen, but ayo, we persevered. Yeah, really happy with that. Well, that was awesome, because it's really nice that even kids get retro dream bikes and can actually enjoy the older stuff, and it works. You know, maybe everyone on YouTube, you know, I follow all of you, you know, Airy Bicycles and Reference Bikes and, you know, Mozon Bikes and Monkey Shred and Second Life Bike, all of them, like everyone that brings back to life older bikes. Maybe we can inspire the newer generation going forward. You know, that'll be pretty cool. That'll be pretty cool. But I will say this, my friend's little girl has got an amazing bike that she can go out riding with her dad when the weather's nice, and they can be retro as hell, you know what I mean? They can be flying down those country lanes, just enjoying the retro life. If you got this far, as always, I appreciate every single one of you that watch, especially that get all the way to the end as well, because it does help out the channel. Join me on the next episode, because I've got a trash or treasure coming next, and it could be trash, it could be treasure. Fingers crossed we're going to turn it into treasure, but we're going to have a trash or treasure episode. Probably will be like 4 or 5 minutes long. Take it from there. So I'll see you guys in a couple of days. See you.